Mike Binder made this look. And yes, he has this history, but he still had to sit down with a blank page and make this. This is a great American screenplay, man.
Yes.
I threw it with the subtitles. I mean, racism isn't just a box that we own. People fear of culture, fear of, differences. I mean, that's around the world, and it's probably the thing that's been holding us back. And the Middle East hasn't solved it, and they haven't, and just it's racism is a fear-based thing, and I'm not smart enough to figure out how to do it. I do know that my children will be better than I am. I was born in Compton, California, and I grew up around the fear of the white community as the black community was coming in, and rolled right into the 60s, rolled right into Vietnam. And so for me to participate in this movie, these two communities, Beverly Hills and Compton, one of which I had kind of an intimate look at, it was really important for me to want to make this movie.
Yeah, it's funny, we shot this movie while the George Zimmerman case was going on. And the day we shot, one of the important scenes where Kevin actually uses that word, the Paula Dean thing was all blowing up on the news. And there was never, someone had said, should we do an alternative? And he was like, no, we're not shooting an alternative because we'll use it. Someone will say use it. And the other side of it is right at that time, President Obama said something that I thought really became like a touchstone for me. Kind of, Kevin just said it. And he gave this great speech, and he was talking about why he felt positive about race relations in this country. And he said, because his kids were better at it than he and Michelle were. And my kids are better at it than Diane and I are, and I know I'm a lot better. My dad, I think my dad, he was a racist. I mean, I grew up in Detroit, and I couldn't believe some of
the script that Mike wrote, but as we drifted through, there's these little windows of opportunity, of things that I would bring to Mike's attention, and Mike was real confident, and some things just found their way into the script. But no, that was the document, that was the Bible. That's how I'm trained.
A lot of little jokes that we added, and a lot of ideas that he would have that I thought that made me laugh. Not a lot.
There's a lot. There was a lot. One or two. There's more than you can remember. Like every day.
She hadn't done a lot, I think.
Oh, she's 37 years old. That's how good a performance. No, she hasn't done a lot. She had done one little part in a movie, and she won the part. Kevin always said, this little girl battled uphill and won the part. And I never looked at it that way, but she really did. For a little 7-year-old girl to put herself up for that kind of rejection and to fight it and go to each level. There's so many levels for these kids, so many different auditions, and then taping themselves, and then flying to New York. And one girl flew.
If you think about that little girl playing piano in my house, and kind of boring, right? You could almost hear the metronome, ding, ding, ding. And yet down in Compton, she's playing music, and she's surrounded by all these cousins and people, and that room was alive. And Elliot, my character, went in there and went, wow, this is just as good as my house. You know what? This is actually better. And so I thought Mike was incredibly even-handed with making that she was perfectly safe and perfectly happy down there. And that's not an easy thing to do. And I think, when I tell Reggie, you got to get your act together. And then I go and go glug, 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 glug. I think Mike really didn't pick sides. He picked family. He chose family. And we all have bruises as a result of our families. But this little girl was I'm not a drinker by nature, and more of somebody from the 60s. I saw what you did, Mike. So yeah, and I knew that I had to be that, and so I just I just had to find that and try to find it in my own way and my own pain of losing these two women that were the closest things to me in the world, my daughter and my wife, and now the last vestige of who she was is in this little girl. And I thought Mike was so careful to say, well, maybe this guy's not a drunk. Maybe he's just one angry motherfucker. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a very important line. And that line almost gave us an R rating. And I had to go before the board, the ratings board, and appeal it. And I really appreciate that they looked at this and allowed this movie to be a PG-13 so that it was not walled off to people 13 years old, that they could be brought. And but you know what, for me to say how I did it, I don't really know how to say that. I know that I made sure that Elliot, even though he was drunk, he made sure he finished his sentences, even if they didn't make sense, because he knew that if he didn't finish his sentence, people would certainly know he was drunk. So, you know, I tried to find that, and I said to Mike, I said, you need to watch me, because I'm going to go for this part. I'm going to go for it. You know, that you see a part like this, you just, I mean, how many actors in the room? Yeah, and I think you know what, number one, my colleagues, hi.
Hi.
And when you get a part like this, you just go for it as much as you can. And I also wanted to temper it. I wanted this is a professional man. And he's just in a lot of pain. Work at it. And I've had to work at it. There's, you know, I think I know what you're saying. I am the 6-foot white guy. Okay? So I have a chance to play leads in American movies. I have a real advantage on a certain level. I don't have two heads, so I can qualify for a lot of that stuff. And I feel I have had a journey, and I have gotten better because I wanted to. I feel like I'm a better actor than I was 3 movies ago, because it matters to me. And but I'm only really as good as the writing, and I know how writing really props up actors. I'm pretty charming at home, but not for 2 hours in the theater. It's, you know, it doesn't come naturally to me, acting. It takes me a long time to memorize. I was not good in school. I learned the whole script before the movie ever starts. I come to work off book. I come to work and I know everybody else's lines. And when I do that, I find that I'm ready to discover so much more. And there's so many windows of opportunity that I find that I'm able to step through. And I've learned about myself over time. And I'm not as strong as I was when I first started. I'm not I like to think of myself as the same person, but I have really traveled a road, and I've been so thankful for the road I've traveled. I've really been propped up by very good writers, by very good directors, and I've loved almost every minute of my career. I've had ups and downs that people will look at, but I don't necessarily look at them the same way. I've had a real life in the movies, and you could have gone.
Thank you.
You came because of Mike, thanks. You came because of me, thanks. If you came just because you love movies, everything we put into it in the 26 days we made it was for what you felt. And long live the movies.
Yes. Thank you.